Hi, I'm Katie, and this is my historical timeline. I was born and raised in Lakeland, Florida. My home church is Highland Park Nazarene, which is here in Lakeland as well. I've gone there ever since I can remember. I have one brother and two dogs. My brother's name is Devin, and I have my two dogs are a Shih Tzu and a Maltipoo. I have a small family, but we're all close and try to spend as much time together as possible. I didn't do any sports growing up, but I did do cheerleading. I started when I was 5 years old for like a little local team, and then I did competitive cheerleading, and then I cheered all through high school as well. I enjoy going to the farmers market on Saturday morning. There's a farmers market here in Lakeland, downtown. You can walk around and get coffee and just buy things from local people. I like walking the lake and even going to Disney. My favorite place to spend the weekends is in Anna Maria. If I could be there every weekend, I would love to. And my favorite type of food is Mexican food. I eat it at least twice a week. I was born on February 8th, 1993. So the historical event that I chose was the World Trade Center bombing. It was a terrorist attack that was carried out with a truck bomb that detonated below the North Tower. It didn't do any damage, but it did cause a scare. So my first historical event, since I was born, I chose the Columbine High School Massacre. It was a high school shooting that occurred at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. Two high school seniors came to school loaded with firearms and bombs. They first placed two propane bombs in the school's cafeteria, and when they tried to detonate them, they didn't go off, so they decided to just go on a shooting spree. And they ended up killing 12 students and one teacher and injured many others. My second one is September 11th, 2001. It is 9/11. I chose this one because I remember I was in school, I was in fourth grade, and I remember being at lunch and all of the parents starting to check out my friends at lunch, and I was wondering what was going on. It was kind of weird. And then my parents came and checked me out, and we got home, and it was all over the news. I remember watching it and being scared. But it was 19 activists that were tied to the Islamic extremist group Al Qaeda. They hijacked airplanes and crashed two planes into the World Trade Center and a third one into the Pentagon. And then there was one that crashed in a field in Pennsylvania as well. Um, Over 3,000 people were killed in all of the attacks, and more than 400 police officers and firefighters were killed as well. They were the ones that were part of the rescue teams. 2001, October 23rd, 2001, Apple releases their first iPod. They sold nearly 390 million units. I remember this because I remember being so excited that my parents got me an iPod for Christmas, and it was like the present of the year. And it's kind of crazy to think how things have changed from those iPods to our iPods today, and even just our iPhones. 2005, August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina makes landfall in the United States as a Category 3 hurricane. Um, the storm itself did a lot of damage, but I think it was more of the aftermath that caused even more damage. When it hit New Orleans, it forced 80% of their city to be underwater. Many people were left without homes and shelters, and the Coast Guard ended up rescuing 34,000 people just from New Orleans alone, and it killed nearly 2,000 people. This people are still affected by Hurricane Katrina today. Many homes were destroyed forever, and I know it's always scary whenever hurricanes come close to New Orleans, even today. February 4th, 2004, Facebook is launched for the very first time. Facebook was created by Mark Zuckerberg, who was a Harvard sophomore at the time. He created it just for students at his school to be able to connect with other students at the school, but now it is nationwide and even worldwide. I think almost every country, everyone has access to Facebook. There are more than 1.8 billion users. So out of my five historical events that are personal to me, the first one I chose was the death of my Uncle Keith. In September 19th of 2013, he was shot and killed in Fort Myers. It was a robbery attempt, and instead of just letting them rob him, he fought back and they ended up shooting him. The three suspects that were there, one shot and two were just witnesses, they were all 18 and 19 years old, which is really sad that people that young can make that big of a mistake. But when they shot him in his back and he died. Later that night, though, they caught all three suspects, which we are thankful of, and all three have been charged with the murder, and all have been sentenced to at least 25 years in prison, which is obviously not equal to his life, but I'm glad that they caught him, and even his wife has a little bit of peace now. May 24th, 2011, I start my first job at Small Wonders Preschool in Lakeland. It is a Christian preschool located at Highland Park Nazarene Church. I work in the nursery as well as the toddler room. I worked there for about 4 years, and that's where I learned that I wanted to become a teacher. January 23rd, 2016, I buy my first car, which is a red Mercedes C250. January 6, 2017, I traveled to New York City for 4 days and spent all 4 days being a tourist and ice skating and going to the top of the Empire State Building. And July 24th, 2015, I took the Key West Express down to Key West for my brother's birthday. It was better to me. It was better than driving 6 hours. It was actually enjoyable. Well, thank you for listening to my historical timeline.